Hey, it's Miss Mocha, and today I'm coming to break down the good woman, the virtuous woman in Proverbs chapter 31, verses 10 through 31. So I'll read them first, just to go over them, and then I'll break it down with what I wrote. I break down each verse so that we can know exactly what a virtuous woman is, what she does. Yeah, so let's see. We start with verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth with the fruit of her hands. She planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good, her candle goeth not out by night. Okay, we're at verse 19. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretches out her hand to the poor, yes, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Okay, 23. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, and her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. And verse 31 says, give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. All right, so that was a lot. You can go back and read it. Of course, I'm reading out of the King James Version. So this is how I broke it down. So verse 10, it kind of speaks for itself. A virtuous woman. The price for her is far above rubies. So she's like, very valuable, right? 11, her husband doeth safely trust in her, so she's trustworthy. So she's a woman that, the husband can trust. And let's see, 11, no, that was 11. 12, she do him good and not evil. So that's self-explanatory. So a virtuous woman is going to do her husband, herself, her family, everyone, but more specifically her husband, she's going to do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So the husband doesn't need to worry about her because she's trustworthy and she's of God. So she's going to do good works. The next verse talks about she's willing to work with her hands. So she's not just, a housewife or his wife. She's also working too. Let's see, where we at? 14. So she brings food. So she makes sure that she brings food in and that her family, her household eats. And we know that's the job of a wife. And so, yes, a virtuous woman makes sure her household eats. Like, we gotta eat. Definitely. I always say that we gotta eat. And then it says she buys a field and she plants a vineyard. So that right there is just telling me how she's not only holding the household down, she's also working on, trying to make sure that she has food for a lifetime. Not it doesn't. I guess it doesn't have to be a vineyard. It could be like a garden or like a field where she's growing food and crops, things like that, to make sure that they eat, to make sure that her household is good and that she's working her own business. And then it talks about her having strength, having good merchandise, and so that to me talks about her being like having confidence of you know doing basic domestic tasks. So not just being a wife at home, but also having a confidence and drive to produce results. That's what I wrote down. She's committed. She does what it takes to be successful. So it's not just working inside the home for the kids and the husband, but also with her own businesses, making sure she's bringing in income, making sure she's bringing in, abundance of food, all that good stuff. And so domestic tasks also like making things like fine linen, sewing clothes. She's humble. She helps the poor. She helps the needy. So that these are all what these verses say. It's all about being virtuous. You have to do all these things. She makes sure her household has clothes that's suitable for the season as well as quality clothes. And that was, where was that? Verse 21. So when it says she's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. So she makes sure that, when it's cold, everyone has the proper clothing, coats, boots, gloves, mittens, all that. But it also, scarlet is spiritual. So it's like making sure they're clothed with faith and clothed with the fruit of the spirit, joy, peace, all that. So making sure the body is clothed, also the soul is clothed. What else, where am I at? Okay, and then so she makes sure that her household is clothed. She also makes sure she keeps up with herself, not just her household, but make sure, the kids, the husband's looking good, and she's also looking good. And then the verse where it just, all of this talks about her, but then there's that one verse, verse 23, where it says her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. That talks about the husband and takes away from her. But I think, what I get from the verse, I think is just saying that she knows that her husband is important, that he sits among the elders, so she's not out here, misbehaving or having misconduct, embarrassing him. She's doing, what she got to do to make sure that she's not bringing shame to him or to the family or, to the name. So that's where I think that verse comes in, because if your husband is known, you can't be out here like embarrassing him or, things are going to get back to him. So you got to make sure that you're being a good woman inside the house, outside the house, like that. So that's where I get from it. But, let's see. And so, where we at? Yeah. And so, also it talks about how she makes and sells fine linen. So this again tells me that she has her own businesses. She's making clothes. She's plants the vineyard or her garden or whatever. She's making sure food is, in abundance. She's selling stuff. So yeah, that says she has her own business. So in our day, it could be anything as long as we, bringing money into the household. We're not just laid up in the house doing nothing. We're contributing. And then it also talks about her being strong. So she has strength, she has honor, she has dignity, respect for herself. All of that makes a virtuous woman. When she speaks of wisdom, she speaks of kindness to others, to herself, to her husband, of course, to her children, everyone. And then it talks about her watching over her household, make sure everyone is good. I think that that means, where she's not idle. So there's always jobs to be done at home, making sure before you go to bed at the end of the day, your job is done. Everyone's happy, your job is complete. Making sure your husband is good, making sure your children is good, pets, whatever. Yourself too, God, everyone. So that's what I think that that verse meant. Where was that verse? 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household and eateth not the bread of idleness. So she's not just being lazy or standing still. She's doing her jobs. And at the end of the day, she knows that her job is well done. The next verse, her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. I think that's self-explanatory. The children, the husband love her. They praise her because she does her job. And then the next one is like, many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. That just means being a virtuous woman surpasses all women. So this is a godly woman. This is a woman that cares for herself, her children, her husband, her household. And so, of course, that's going to surpass any other kind of woman, period. And then it says, favor is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman that feared the Lord, she shall be praised. So that's self-explanatory also, period, she shall be praised. And 31, I feel like that's just saying let her own works and her own accomplishments be known, so that she's not just, her husband's wife. She is someone that does a job and does it well. She does a job for God. She does a job for herself. She does a job for her husband, her children, her household, period. And so let her be known for all of those, not just being a wife. So this is a virtuous woman. Read those verses, Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31, and I'm telling you, that's exactly what I embody. I am a virtuous woman. All of us should be virtuous women. So, yeah, I'm just, figuring this all out too. So, getting my businesses together, I've always made sure my kids were straight, my household is straight. When my husband comes, I'm going to be able to balance. That's the key. The key is balance. You got to be able to balance. And it's hard, but you just pray. Ask God to help you. You got to balance, serving God, serving your husband, serving your children, serving yourself, your household, whether that's like we have a cat, serve the cat, make sure everyone is good. You got to serve your own businesses or, your work. So it's like, to be a virtuous woman, that's why the price for her is far above rubies, because she does so much. And then she also has to have not just, working and serving the household. She has to have those qualities of, dignity, being trustworthy, all of that. So it's a lot to be a virtuous woman, but you gotta be. You just gotta be. And that's what I've been working towards being. I know I'm a virtuous woman, so the price for me is far above rubies. I'm very valuable. That's why, I wait on God for my husband, because I can't just be out here with any old body. So yeah, that's a breakdown of the virtuous woman. I hope you liked it. Take a look at those verses, and yeah, see you back another day with some more Bible knowledge. Let's make God cool again, popular again. All this stuff is right out of the Bible, and it's what we need to know, for today. How to be blessed, how to walk the way God wants us to walk. It's cool. That's what I think. It's cool to be godly. Period. It's cool to be blessed. Period. So, all right. It's Miss Mocha. Bye.